We are joined again by Mayor Steve Bach in our downtown studio. Mayor, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. We'll jump right into election results. Elections on Tuesday, a lot of new faces on City Council. What are some of the challenges or opportunities that have come from pretty much a new City Council?
Well, John, I view this as a fresh start, and so I'm very optimistic and looking forward to working with this new council. In fact, I just came from having coffee with Joel Miller, one of the new city councilors, and had a really great conversation with Joel. He very smart guy, cares deeply about our city, wants to contribute, wants to move things forward, and that's all anybody could ask for. So I appreciate that. I'm going to be meeting with the other new councilors one-on-one here in the next few days, and I'm just anticipating really good conversations with them as well. You know, in fairness to this past council, it's been a tough couple of years. If you really look back, they have all worked very hard. And I'm really proud to have served with all the people on our city council. And yes, there have been some conflicts. I think that's the result of the new charter form of government, more so than anything else. I think they've done their best. I have certainly tried my best. So it's a new day, a new beginning, and I'm looking forward to it.
And what does it say? I mean, a lot of these, the votes there was a majority, especially when talking about the pay increase. I mean, it was an overwhelming, almost 80 to 20%. That the pay increase was not something that the voters wanted to see, at least during this election.
Well, it was overwhelmingly defeated, 80 to 20, I believe, 80% to 20%. And, you know, as you recall, I had asked council not to put that on the ballot by itself. I think that's certainly something we need to consider. I do think councilors should be paid more, but that needs to be part of a larger conversation, including their role long-term and their responsibilities. And I'm going to carry that forward with them and bring that back to voters when we can, when it's appropriate, as part of a larger discussion of reinventing city council to make it more efficient, more effective, and honestly more satisfying for the participants. So it did fail considerably, and I think this election is about anti-incumbency. I read the results to mean that the voters are still not happy with the way we're running the city government, and this will be the third election, I think, in a row where the voters have spoken pretty strongly. In terms of how they want to see things done differently. So I think the new council will take that to heart. I certainly do. I'm going to redouble my efforts. I can get better. I want to get better. As a fellow elected official, we're under a lot of pressure. There are a lot of urgent matters we're all dealing with, and so it's hard sometimes to maintain the decorum that we'd like, but I'm going to do my very best.
And you're talking about citizens not really happy at this point, but you continue to go out and talk with them in these town hall meetings that you're having all across the city. What are some of the things that you're kind of coming back with? Do you hear over and over again? Is there something specific? Is there a theme?
There is. We still have high unemployment. We have many other people who are underemployed, can't find a job equal to their qualifications. We need to continue to redouble again our collective efforts to get this economy going. It's very difficult with the circumstances we have nationally and locally, but there are strategies, some of which we're already implementing. So what I'm hearing is people want jobs, number one. Number two, they want our city government to operate in a manner that will be fiscally sustainable. I think there's a lot of angst about the risk we face. You know, I don't know if you noticed this week that Stockton, California has declared bankruptcy. We are on that same track, honestly, and we cannot allow that to happen. So people are concerned, but there's also a great amount of passion for the city everywhere I go. A lot of hopes and dreams, a lot of good feeling. I believe most people I talk to feel we're making progress, and I hope that's true.
When you're talking about making progress and you're talking about jobs, as the mayor, I know you're in meetings constantly. What are some of the things that are being done to try to attract more jobs to this area for the citizens who live here?
The most important thing our city government can do is to be as business and citizen friendly as possible. If we could be the most business friendly city in the country, that will encourage people to start businesses here, to grow those businesses here, to move here, and it will serve as a magnet, and that word will spread worldwide, really, that Colorado Springs is a great place to have a business and to earn a living. So I think that's our first responsibility. I'm the lead on that. I've got a great staff working very hard to improve how we operate as a city. We want to be more responsive. We want to be as reasonable as we can on our regulations, and we want to be fair with the fees we charge. So I think we're making progress. I even saw a letter in the daily newspaper from somebody complimenting us on our pothole program, which is maybe a first, and I want to pay tribute to our streets division. They're great people. They're doing wonderful work. So we need to improve the business climate, first and foremost. Secondly, we need to nurture and support the private sector and nonprofits. I think that the University of Colorado Health lease of Memorial Hospital is huge in terms of what that can mean to us, not only in terms of even better patient care and maintaining jobs for Memorial employees, but also a branch medical campus, which I believe will happen. That will be a tremendous economic driver, a lot of spinoffs from that as well. So I think we just have to continue to focus on improving the business climate and encouraging major economic steps forward like University of Colorado Health.
And another thing that I guess a lot of people are talking about right now when it comes to both attracting jobs and quality of life here is the Colorado Springs Airport. Recently there's been a change as the aviation director, Tom Gallagher, now taking over as interim director. What kind of transpired over the last few years to maybe suggest that there needs to be a change at the Colorado Springs Airport?
Well, I first want to say that Mark Earl, who has just left as the aviation director, did a superb job for almost 10 years at our airport, and most recently 5 years as the director of our airport. I have great respect for Mark Earl. This is one of those tough decisions that was made, that I made with Mark, actually. And when I ran for mayor, I said that I would ask the tough questions and I would make the hard decisions. This is one of the very hardest questions or decisions I've had to be involved with. But the fact is that our airport has declining passenger traffic. We are now at a 22-year low in passenger traffic. This year we're going to board about 680,000 passengers all told. Compare that to Tucson, Arizona, for example, which is a pure city in the sense that it is close to a major hub as we are to DIA. And Tucson's going to board about 3.6 million people this year versus our 680,000 people. So I just felt we had to try a new direction. And it's a very tough decision because Mark Earl's an outstanding professional, but I felt we had to try something new. And it's a judgment call. It doesn't mean I'm right and he's wrong. He's a great man. He'll do great service wherever he goes.
And how hands-on are you going to be in both choosing the next aviation director and trying to attract CEOs to say, all right, let's give Colorado Springs a shot. Let's put our airline at that airport?
Well, City Council confirms the airport director, so it will be my responsibility to nominate someone. We will do a national search. Tom Gallagher, the interim, will do a fine job, and he may be ultimately a candidate for the permanent director's position. So I feel very comfortable there. We will do a national search, and council will confirm my appointment. On marketing, we need to do everything possible. As with every other part of our city government, we must rethink what we're doing at the airport. I'm going to be flying to Atlanta, Georgia to meet with officials from Delta Airlines, and then to Dallas to meet with officials at American Airlines. I've been on the phone with Southwest Airlines and Alaska Airlines, and I'll be talking to others. So I'm going to personally have a high-profile involvement to let the airlines we have now and other prospective carriers here know that we really want them here. We're going to do everything we can to support their success. Now, on a local level, I met with the Business Alliance this week. Great meeting with them on a number of fronts, and I have asked them to help me convince the business community to take another look at our airport, even if it isn't quite as convenient or quite as economical as flying on a DIA. We need to support our airport. It's kind of almost like a chicken or an egg situation, which is if we could have more traffic, the airlines would provide more routes. So I'm going to pull together a marketing brainstorming meeting with stakeholders from throughout the community, the Convention and Business Bureau, the lodging folks, and others who have both interest and expertise in tourism and our airport. And so we're going to begin to take steps right away, and we're also going to hire a consultant who has experience in helping successful regional airports close to hub airports like we are. And so it's going to take a few months, but we're on the way, I think, to a better future.
On Wednesday, you announced the after-action fire report for the Waldo Canyon Fire. Is this kind of a conclusion to what has happened and now we're ready to just move forward? Or what is your take on it?
Well, I'm very disappointed in today's front page article in our daily newspaper. Once again, it is cherry-picked, I believe for an agenda purpose, negative points. Certainly mistakes were made, but a lot went right. And I'm going to be meeting with the publisher and the editor of the Gazette to have a frank and forthright discussion on that, because I think it's important that the public know the full story. Worst wildfire in Colorado history, worst disaster in the history of Colorado Springs. It started in the county, up in the National Forest. We had no authority to go out into the county and put that fire out ourselves. We were not legally authorized to fight that fire until it entered the city, which it did at about 4:18 p.m. on Tuesday, June 26th, with a 65-mile-an-hour wind. It was just a 100-foot wall of flames, honestly. We could have had 5,000 firefighters up in Mountain Shadows, and we would not have been able to put it out. So I'm just thankful that we didn't lose more lives. I feel awfully badly about the 2 souls that were lost, and all the homes that were lost, 347, many more damaged. A lot of people lost everything, hurt very badly, but we saved 82% of the homes. And we evacuated 26,000 people in 2 hours without injury or incident. It was chaotic, but we got it done. So hindsight is helpful. We can do some things better, particularly in communications. I understand that 5 fire trucks from Denver showed up. We didn't know they were going to be here, and they showed up, and we weren't on the same radio frequency. Well, that's got to get resolved. We didn't understand that people using cell phones would jam the networks, and we should have been telling folks, please don't use your cell phone unless it's absolutely an emergency. Use a text message. And also, we should have told folks, as you evacuate, certainly stop at that stop sign or the red light, but then proceed through. People stopped and obeyed the law, but that held up the evacuation. So what bothers me most about today's story is it indicates we have no plan going forward, and that's absolutely false, John. Of course we have a plan going forward, a very detailed plan, including aggressive efforts to help people with fire mitigation. And if this fire had started on Cheyenne Mountain, we could have lost thousands of homes and thousands of people, and it's a continuing risk. With the Waldo Canyon Fire burn, the scar, when it rains, we are in serious risk of major flooding, and people better pay attention to that and be prepared to evacuate. We're also going to do everything we can to try to mitigate that flooding. I'm going to be going to City Council soon asking for help financially so we can do more there. So certainly, it wasn't perfect, but I honestly believe what I said Wednesday, which is I don't know how anybody could say that our fire department and the police department didn't do everything reasonable in those circumstances. And so we want to get better. The one thing we were not ready for, and I admit this, was what to do after the fire was out. And when I was told we had 347 homes that had been totally destroyed, it occurred to me that how in the world are these people going to clean up their sites? What if we have 10 or 20 or 347 different contractors up in there trying to clean all this debris out, and there's some toxic materials, and so there's some things that have to be done especially for that. So I called an old friend, Bob Cutter, semi-retired executive from the semiconductor industry, and he formed Colorado Springs Together. They're still out there helping people in Mountain Shadows, and I think we have 140 building permits have been issued. We've expedited that process to help folks, and a lot of people have already moved back in. I've been out going to people's homes and taking them gift baskets, which is a wonderful experience if you get a chance to join me sometime. It's so special to see people been able to restore their lives. So certainly we've learned lessons, and especially in communications with other jurisdictions. I don't know how anybody could expect we could have done a lot more given what happened that afternoon, which is that fire went from being slow burning to a racing inferno with a 65-mile-an-hour wind. I'm just thankful that we escaped that the way we did.
When we talk about moving forward, mitigation seems to be the theme. In all the media I read about the importance of mitigation. I see it on television. And you say you're going to go to City Council. What type of plan is there to try to encourage people to maybe take a second look around their house and say, you know what, maybe this isn't a helpful thing right here?
Well, we've been holding neighborhood meetings already, and we will hold more. Our Fire Marshal, Brett Lacey, will be happy to come to anybody's neighborhood and spend time giving people advice on how to mitigate their own properties. And some of it's pretty straightforward. Get the underbrush cleared away. Some of those homes that burned were because the heat was so intense it radiated through glass windows and caught draperies on fire, caught furniture on fire. So if somebody in the future needs to evacuate, you've got drapes, yank them down, get them out away from that window. So we are already having meetings in neighborhoods. We're going to have more. We are planning to do some actual mitigation this summer with some chippers and summer help to help people get the combustible fuels out from around their homes. The funding I'm talking about for which I'll be going to City Council is specifically for the Waldo Canyon Fire. We have reserves, and you know, I've said all along, we must have reserves for urgent matters as well as opportunities. This is one of those urgent matters, so we'll see if council will approve that, and we'll be going to council in a couple weeks.
As I was driving to work today, I noticed that it was a lot smoother. A lot of potholes that I've experienced through the wintertime are kind of, they're being filled in. Pothole-Palooza, you touched on it earlier. I've heard of Lollapalooza, I've heard of Bonnaroo, but this is the first time I've heard of Pothole-Palooza. Tell me a little bit about that city program.
Well, I think it starts with changing the culture of city government from a regulatory mindset to more one of a customer service organization. You are our employers. You're our best customers, and we need to treat you like that. And I think that's a mindset. And I'm very proud of our city staff, top to bottom, people buying into that idea that we want to serve you better. Can't do everything instantaneously, obviously, but we can get better. And so our streets department has really taken on the accountability of accelerating our pothole repair. And as you know, our challenge in this climate is we have such a freeze-thaw environment that it's going to happen every year, unless you could put concrete down, which is not affordable. So we have a couple new ways that can expedite pothole repair. One is people with a smartphone can now download an app. And I've got one on this phone here where I can take a picture of a pothole or a burnout street light and automatically send it to the city. And that email includes the coordinates of that pothole or that burned out streetlight. So instead of you having to try to find who to talk to in the city and eventually trying to get there, this is instantaneous. And we queue that into the system, and we can expedite repairs. And also people can call in. You can find out more about that by going to my website, which is boxoffice.com. We want to elevate the level of service to this community. And I'm just so proud of our staff because they really want to do that. And we're giving them every resource we can.
I actually did a story with Jesse James in the city office, and we went out, we took a picture of a pothole, and the next day, taken care of.
We want to get better, and we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and when we do, if they're onerous mistakes, I want to hear about it. I don't know if you saw the column I think it was last Saturday. An 87-year-old woman was having problems getting access to a vehicle of hers that had been impounded, caught on fire, and arson was suspected, so the police impounded it, and she just had a terrible time trying to get access to that vehicle. Well, it turns out she had turned over the ownership to her insurance company, so her impound people couldn't legally let her into the vehicle. Well, I'm not sure that was explained to her properly or if she understood it. Anyway, honestly, that Saturday morning I read that, I picked up the phone and called her. And I'm going to call her up and apologize and say, I don't know what happened, but we'll get to the bottom of it. I texted Rich Brown, our fire chief. He called her immediately. He got his people on that. Pete Carey, the police chief, got his people from impound on that. And we turned that situation around. Now, I hope it doesn't mean people have to depend on the mayor every time to handle things like that. But that is an example where not just myself, but our police chief and fire chief want to set the tone that we are going to serve this community as very best we can. And it's really kind of exciting to see it happening.
And Monday you held a celebration for bus service returning in the evening. Talk a little bit about how that evening went and the celebration that was had.
Well, the city years back, previous administration, I guess felt forced to cut back on bus service because of the recession and decline in city revenue. And so they cut out evening bus service, and it's really hurt a lot of people that depend on our bus system to get to work, get to school, get to the doctor, or even go grocery shopping. And so I asked my staff as we looked at this year's budget to try to find a way to bring evening bus service back, and staff did a great job, not only bringing back this evening bus service, but on turning back on the 3,500 remaining street lights that have been turned off and continuing to maintain our neighborhood parks. But on the bus system, so Monday night we had a special bus ride from downtown to the Citadel Mall to inaugurate the restart of evening bus service. And it was pretty heartwarming, John. There in the terminal here downtown, I had a chance to meet quite a few people that take the bus. This one man came up to me and very emotional, and he just thanked me for us returning evening bus service and told me that until Monday night, to get to his job, which is at night, he has to walk an hour and a half. And then after his job, walks an hour and a half back home. So, you know, I mean, you think about that and gosh, that's not right. So we have brought back evening bus service on a number of routes. We need to find ways to do more, to bring back more bus service. There are 4,000 more people, plus more people that need our bus system. So we're going to continue to find ways to bring back, I hope, weekend and holiday service. I don't know for sure how soon.
But one thing that is coming up soon is the second annual Mayor's Cup. You're going golfing in May. How's the weather in May for golfing?
Weather May is pretty much like right now, perfect. You know, the reason for this golf tournament is twofold. Number one, I wanted to raise money outside of the city. Didn't want to take taxpayer money, either for the golf tournament itself or for how we want to spend that money. But I thought if we could raise some money, especially to help young disadvantaged kids be able to go to college and hopefully take courses in public safety, that we could then attract those young people to enter our police and fire departments so that we could grow our own future leadership. And not just public safety, but our city government in general. We need to find our future leaders, you included, and others of your age. So we raised $55,000 last year in our inaugural tournament. This year, the tournament will be on Thursday, May 23rd at the Broadmoor East Golf Course. The Broadmoor is giving us a big discount on the rate, which is very gracious of them. We have a number of sponsors. I hope you'll come along. I don't take every shot, honestly. You know, one of the few prerogatives of being mayor is I can decide whether or not I take every shot.
You kind of use the foot wedge every now and again.
And I'm a liability anyway on the golf course. So, but it's a fun time. It also gets people together that may not see each other a lot, and I think that's important. People from all across the community that love golf that can help move the city forward. So I think it serves a dual purpose, and we're going to have a fun time. People can learn more about this golf tournament by, again, going to my website, boxoffice.com, and it's time to sign up if you want to play. If folks would like to be a sponsor, that's also something we very much appreciate.
All right, and you can contact Donna Nelson at 385-5477 to register or to sponsor the event, which seems like a great event. So,
well, we hope you'll be out there.
I will at least come watch. I might be part of the gallery, but I'll be out there.
Okay.
So, Mayor, I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.